10-second board is out, followed by Nitro, and then we send it. Here we go for race 1 of this Group 2. Looks like Craigster Sr. is far out in front. We do have a battle between the Lightning and the Camaro, and the Camaro is flying off the track, and he barrel rolls over the top of Papa Pugsley and into the Porsche dealership, hopefully causing no damage to his car or the Porsche dealership. Let's slow it down and take a look at what happened here. You see Bolo Brown and Uncle Elvis battling through that 360 as they come out. It looks like Bolo Brown has a slight lead. Uncle Elvis tries to come back, but carries too much speed. You see it right there. He's up on 2 wheels, and he comes to the other turn, and he's going extremely too fast, flying over the top of Papa Pugsley in that Nissan Skyline, landing at the Porsche dealership. Let's take a look at that from the finish line camera here. And while you may have been focusing on Uncle Elvis's massive crash, you might have missed this amazing finish between Bolo Brown and Papa Pugsley. Bolo Brown barely inches ahead of him in that Ford Lightning. We're back to the line for race 2. Uncle Elvis in lane 1, Papa Pugsley in 2, Craigster Sr. in 3, Bolo Brown in 4, and that Ford Lightning as they go up the uphill. Looks pretty even. Who's going to inch out up front? Looks like Uncle Elvis is on his hood again, smashes the landing ramp, bounces off of Bolo Brown, and skids to the finish line. That, folks, is 2 crashes for Uncle Elvis in the first 2 races. Let's go trackside and get the full report.
Good evening. I am out here live from the electrifying Rainier Rallycross track, and behind me you can see Uncle Elvis and his off-road Camaro flipped upside down at the finish line. It seems Uncle Elvis is having a harder time keeping this high-riding beast on its wheels than he anticipated. Now take a look at your screen now. Here is security footage from last night, and it might shed light on today's topsy-turvy performance. It shows Uncle Elvis appearing right there to overindulge at Rainier Brewing. Could this have contributed to his inverted finish? We're working to find that out. We will keep an eye on Uncle Elvis as the story unfolds, but for now, the engines are revving for race 3 of the Fast and Furious Rally Tournament. We head back to the start line because this high-octane action is far from over. Live from the track, I'm Megan, your Rainier Rallycross reporter.
All right, Uncle Elvis is in the fast lane, lane 2. Let's see if he can turn this around in his favor and keep that thing on the track. Maybe he's sobering up, and he is out in front. What will happen as they come towards the finish line? Uncle Elvis on his lid again, but he does finish, and that's a close call, folks. Uncle Elvis was out in front as they go, as he went over that lane 2 bridge coming down into the finish line. I really wanted him to hold that. Craigster Sr. going so fast, he's up on 2 wheels, does recover it there, but he loses a lot of momentum going up the hill, allowing Papa Pugsley to creep in front of him there. As you see, Uncle Elvis going up that bridge, he is on his lid. All the other cars are saying, move now, we have to beat this guy, he's out of the race. Bolo Brown jumping, taking first, Papa Pugsley taking second, and Craigster Sr. barely sneaking by. He sees Uncle Elvis on his hood, makes that merge to the right, and slides right by Uncle Elvis at the finish line here. We'll slow that down for the finish line cam and freeze frame that. By about a half of a car, Craigster pulls out 3rd place, and he might need those points here at the end of the race. And it's only going to get better from here as you sober up. Bolo Brown in lane 2, Craigster Sr. in lane 1. That Camaro is out in front. Man, that thing is fast. Will he be able to keep it on the track and put some points to the board? Uncle Elvis off the track again. This is turning out to be the Uncle Elvis show in that high center of gravity Camaro. As you see there, Uncle Elvis is out in front. That Camaro is fast. He's got the horsepower. Those big tires are turning. But unfortunately, folks, he is just a little too high off the ground for these tight turns on Rainier Rally. He flies off the track, back into the Porsche dealership. Looks like those Porsche Safaris got the brunt of it here. We'll slow it down even further. Hits that jump, airborne there. He's about 37 feet in the air at this point as he's flying towards the Porsche dealership. It's an off-road Camaro, but we don't want to call it an off-track Camaro. We want him to keep that on the designated track, folks. And if it wasn't bad enough to see it a bunch of times, we're going to show it to you again from the finish line cam, the Camaro landing in the pile of Porsches at that Porsche dealership. take a look at the carnage. All right, back to the starting line for race 5. The drivers will assume their starting positions in the first 4 races, so they're back to lane 1 for Papa Pugsley, lane 2 for Craigster Sr., which is the fastest lane, and he will be taking advantage that year as he walks away. It looks like Uncle Elvis is pulling some trickery. He crashes, but he's taking some drivers out with him this time. Uncle Elvis might be sobering up. Someone tells me Uncle Elvis is sobering up, and he's planning to try to keep that Camaro on the track. We'll see if it pays off for him. He is in lane 2, the fastest lane. He seems to be driving a little slower, maybe keeping it a little conservative. Will he keep it on the track in lane 2? He does, but he gets struck by Craigster Sr. as he comes down from that bridge, slowing him down, hurting his chances of a decent finish. But he does keep it on all 4 wheels, and that's half the battle for Mr. Uncle Elvis. And now check out Craigster Sr. being side by side of Papa Pugsley despite being in the outside lane. I was so focused on Uncle Elvis staying on the track, I completely missed Craigster Sr. flying off the track, airborne at the jump, hits Uncle Elvis, bounces off Uncle Elvis, hits Bolo Brown, and still manages to come in 3rd place despite flipping upside down, bouncing off 2 cars. We'll take a closer look at that. He didn't even try to make that turn. And look at all that pinball action. The fast lane. I do need to get on the track crew to get some lane numbers on this track. We actually number them from the looking down the track, this chase cam from left to right. You know, it's a little confusing from the start cam because it's all backwards. But sorry, I've been talking, and Puff walked away with that one, followed by I'm not even sure who. And then we have Strike, who decided to make an appearance at this race. But there you see Strike hardly making it over that first jump. He stumbles, but somehow is able to finish this race. Let's focus on the front 3 drivers. We have Puff in lane 2. That is a fast lane, but it looks like Sam Hall is fast in that Mustang as well, but does not have enough to keep up with Puff. All right, that's it. Race 2 is over. I'm gonna grab some coffee. I'll be right back. What a day at the office. This coffee is good. Okay, back to recording. There we go. Okay, and we're back, folks. And, well, there, looks like Strike finally made it across the finish line. Congratulations, Strike. You put some points on the board. And I have some nice points.
Nice car. What's the retail on one of those?
More than you can afford, pal. Ferrari. Smoke. Right, our lefts. James Ironbeard will go to lane 1 in that Dodge Charger RT. And we've got Numbskull in lane 2. Will he be able to take advantage of that fast lane that looks like he is falling behind despite being the fastest lane? And there's a race for the finish, folks. I didn't even see that coming. All right, we got Disaster Jack in the first lane, James Ironbeard in the second lane, Numbskull, and then Scooter Brownwell over by that skid steer. They are out of there over the first jump. Neck and neck going up into the 360 minus Numbskull. As they come out of the 360, what do we have? Oh, Disaster Jack on his lid, spins out, flies off, hits a holler. Holy Supra, Batman. That was a crazy crash. Let's slow that down for you and see what might have happened here. James Ironbeard and Disaster Jack side by side as they go into the 360. James pulls ahead just slightly. It's possible the Disaster Jack got on it a little bit too hard coming out of that 360 and spun out of control. There you see he's backwards. Disaster Jack, that's the wrong way. You're not supposed to go in reverse. And that is the result. Flips off, hits that transport in the side of the track, and he comes to a screeching halt. Numbskull. He's going to beat the skid steer, though, because that skid steer has not moved, folks. And they're out of there for race 4 as they go up into the 360s. It looks like Disaster Jack is way out in front, and he's up on his side. Oh my gosh! Speaking of circus act, he is putting on a show, for us, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, stop that right now. That's a little bit annoying. All right, let's slow that down for you. Watch that. James Ironbeard looks like he has the speed. Does lose a little bit of momentum going up that hill into the 360. But we know Disaster Jack is fast, and he is in lane 2, the quickest lane. But he has to tackle that bridge. Tackle it with too much speed, and you'll end up sliding on your side and onto your hood across the finish line. But despite all that, despite the sparks flying, and maybe his helmet dragging on the track just slightly, he was able to hold on to first place and take 4 points in this race. Let's watch this circus act from the finish line camera here. He is up on his side, balancing on his tires, folks. Balancing on his tires, flops over to his hood, and flips across the finish line. Luckily, he's able to keep it on the track. A roller. The 10-second board is out. We will see Nitro followed by Send It, and they will be out of there. It looks like the nimble Escort gets the early jump. Will he be able to hold it out as Rage follows him right behind? Rage catching up as they go into the final merger. Feral Patrick crashes and rolls, and just by inches, Raw Sun God is able to beat him out to the finish line here. Let's slow it down here. That Escort is quick, it is nimble, it is fast off the line, but Rage was able to catch him, Feral Patrick in the 360. Feral Patrick panicked, hit the gas, flew off the track, launched upside down, rolled, spun around backwards, and then got passed by Raw Sun God at the finish line. All right, we're back at the starting line for race 4. Rage in the fast lane, Crazy Canuck in lane 1, followed by the other blue card looking so pretty. Escort way out in front early. Will he be able to hold on to it? He's up on 2 wheels and he smashes the landing of that jump. And I don't know where he's at. He does not recover from that. Rage takes the win. Raw Sun God takes second. And once again, no Crazy Canuck as we slow that down for you here. Look at that Escort on its 2 wheels. He has to let off. And because he let off, he loses speed, cases the jump, almost comes in contact with both of the skylines. Rage barely makes it underneath him, and Raw Sun God barely made it to the side of him. That Escort was all over the track. And then it's basically impossible for him to come back and win. Those 4 cars are out of there for race 6. Let's see what exciting things we can drum up in this one. It looks like Rage and Feral Patrick are battling, and then Feral Patrick crashes. Rage bounces off of him and does the little bunny scoot across the finish line. Holy cannoli, I've never seen anything like that in Rainier Rallycross history. Let's slow it down for you and see that again. We're going to be able to watch that a few times because that, friends, is crazy. Not as crazy as the Crazy Canuck, but that was crazy. Let's watch this. Feral Patrick flies off of the track, cases the landing of that jump. There you see Rage bouncing off of him, jumping off of his hood, launching in the air, landing on that rear spoiler, and doing a little scoot across the finish line like a dog dragging his butt across the ground after he poops and there's still poop attached to his butt. All right, let's take a look at that from the finish line cam. There you see the skyline bouncing off the Escort, landing on that rear spoiler. He gets a little bump from Raw Sun God, who keeps the tail stand going here. We'll watch that again from zoomed out. Man, I've never seen anything like this in Rainier Rallycross history. And despite all that, Rage is still able to set it down and finish in first place, just barely beating Raw Sun God. And we cut to the helicopter cam to see Feral Patrick in between the finish line jump area. He will be needing some assistance getting out of there.
Engines.
The 10-second board is out. We have Cupcake in the first lane, Dusty Miles in the second lane, N-Count and Chowhound over there by that skid steer. Looks like N-Count and Dusty Miles out in front. N-Count gets up on his side and he's on his roof. As they go through 360, it looks like Dusty Miles is out front. Will he hold on to it? Cupcake takes the win and barely edges out Dusty Miles. Let's take a look at that replay here. It looks like Dusty Miles is out front. N-Count right behind him, but N-Count goes a little too fast. Gets up on his side there in that Austin Martin DB5. I don't know why my voice changes to a British accent when I do that. Channeling my inner Theodore Braves, I guess. There's Dusty Miles out in front going up the lane 2 bridge. Cupcake taking advantage of it, getting a huge amount of air and spinning out as he crosses the finish line here. We'll follow that to the finish line cam. Look at that air by the S2000 as he slides sideways across the finish line. That car...
Ladies and gentlemen, cut! Just do it normal.
Okay, fine, party poopers, I'll do it normal. Ladies and gentlemen, speed enthusiasts and adrenaline junkies, hold on to your seats because we are plunging into round 1, group 7 of the Fast and the Furious Rally Tournament. Trust me, you won't want to touch that skip button because mid-video, we've got a surprise twist that'll leave your engines roaring for more. Starting strong, we have Scoop sliding into the scene in a sleek Nissan Silvia S14, a ride as smooth as the day's first coffee. Let's see if he has what it takes to brew up a storm on the track. Next up, we've got the ever unpredictable Cousin Ricky. The name might sound homey, but when he's behind the wheel of that Corvette Grand Sport Roadster, expect nothing short of wild. Predictable? That word ain't even in Ricky's vocabulary, unless we're predicting chaos, that is. And lining up next, we have Chicken George in the driver's seat of a cutting-edge 2017 Acura NSX. While the name might conjure playful imagery, when George hits the accelerator, it's clear he's not here to merely ruffle feathers. Expect high-flying performance that aims to lead the pack. Last in our grid, but certainly not least, we have Sneaky Bob revving up in a Lykan Hypersport. Now, some of you might remember that iconic Lykan in the movie, sporting a fiery red paint job. Bob seems to have had a Pepsi overload, or perhaps just a personal twist on a classic. Regardless, we're fizzing with anticipation. But nonetheless, we love Sneaky Bob. We're actually collaborating with Sneaky Bob and some other tracks on an upcoming NASCAR Super Truck Tournament that we are super excited about. Look out for an announcement on that. We actually have a new track in the works. Those Super Trucks will not be racing on this track. You should see videos from us in that tournament become October or so. All right, race 2. Let's watch that replay here. I got a little bit off track. As they head into the 360s, it looks like Cousin Ricky is out front, but Scoop taking full advantage of lane 2. Cousin Ricky right behind him here, maybe 3 or 4 car lengths. He wants to close that gap. He tries to, but Scoop cuts him off right at the finish line. Sorry, I burped. I'm going to leave that in there. Scoop closes the door and takes first place in race 2. We'll watch that from the finish line cam here to see how close that is. Scoop goes out, Cousin Ricky goes in, and Scoop wins by about 4/7 of a car. Cousin Ricky right behind with 9. NITRO, and they're going to send it down the track for race 4. Over the first jump they go. And oh my God, Cousin Ricky flies out of his car and gets hit by Chicken George, and Scoop is on his lid. Everybody look out, that car has no driver. Look out, look out. Oh my gosh, there's bodies everywhere. The grandstands are flying. Cousin Ricky is on his roof. Well, Cousin Ricky's actually up the track, but his car is on his roof. And there's people in the grandstands upside down, cars smashed. There you see Cousin Ricky backwards outside of his car. He gets hit right here by Chicken George in that NSX and drug all the way up the 360s. Meanwhile, Scoop overjumped that jump and is on his lid. He is out of this race, and Cousin Ricky's car is traveling down the track with no driver, flying at full speed, out of control. What do you think is going to happen? Exactly what you thought. Bounces off the wall, heads directly towards the grandstands, contact with the bleachers, and people go flying everywhere. Holy guacamole, I hope we have all the waivers signed for legal reasons. This is one of the worst wrecks Rainier Rally has seen. And as we watch this finish line replay, all I can think about is needing a co-host with a fatality button. We're going to rewind that and watch it again here. Folks, I don't know who won this race. We're going to slow that down for you. It looks like Cousin Ricky was still over the track of the finish line. We freeze frame it, and it looks like Sneaky Bob crosses the finish line. In the next frame, Cousin Ricky's front end crosses the finish line, folks. And the rules here at the track are you have to cross the finish line tape over the plane of the track. So while Cousin Ricky was past the finish line, he was outside the track. And our emergency crew is wasting no time getting on site and going to check out to see if Cousin Ricky is okay. They will load him up on the stretcher and put him in that ambulance and take him to the local hospital to see if he is okay. All it's going to take is one person. And what is Cousin Ricky doing up there? Get him down. Seriously, you can't start the race up there. You're going to get yourself killed.
A kilt? What do I look like, the Highlander?
Killed, not kilt. Oh my gosh, here we go anyways. Hold on, Cousin Ricky. As we expected, he is out of his car, but his car is still going. Will we have a repeat of race 4? It appears Cousin Ricky is out front, but Sneaky Bob takes the victory. And folks, I believe Sneaky Bob needed all 4 of those points to move on. Before we show you the scorecard, we will watch that replay from the finish line here. It does look like Cousin Ricky's car is slightly out of control, but he does keep it on the track. Our left, looks like Lucas is in the lane 2, the fast line. Will he be able to capitalize on this? Arlo out front. Will Arlo be able to take him from the slightly slower lane? It's going to be close. Lucas cuts off Arlo, spins him out as they cross the finish line, and Lucas holds out for 4 points and the win in race 2 here at Rainier Rallycross. Arlo and Lucas are walking away with this one. I believe they should be the ones to move on. I don't know how to use mathematics, so I don't know if that's possible for Craigster Sr. A couple pugs to come back, but we shall see. Craigster Sr. out front. He's up on 2 wheels. He's off the track. He hits a spectator and still finishes first. He takes the win, and there is a lady laying on the ground. Maybe she's just taking a nap. Maybe she's not hurt. I'm not sure. I didn't see any medics running out there. Maybe she told the people around her that she was a little snoozy and just wanted to lay down for a while. But I will tell you, she was hanging out in the camp area, taking selfies, so there's a good chance that she is intoxicated, and she was far too close to the track taking selfies, and our insurance covers that. It says right there, it says, do not take selfies within 10 feet of the track, or there's a possibility you might get hit and severely injured. There is the contact between the selfieing woman, and it is a woman, but we heard a man scream when they were struck by the car. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe that's a production crew. They hit the wrong button for the scream. But there she is, laying on the ground. We're going to get some medics out there to her, possibly. Nope, we're not. We're just going to leave her there and show you guys the scoreboard for race 7. You will see Nitro, and they will send it for the lap 1 down this track. We have Puff in the first lane, Sam Hall in the second lane. As they head up into the 360, it looks like Sam Hall might be out front by a little bit. And oh my gosh, it looks like the camera just went down. It looks like our drone cam was taken out. It might have been a bird strike. I'm not sure. We'll get the full report on that later. But we'll see that race finished by the finish line camera. We'll watch that replay back right before you see. Check out for any animals in the sky. Maybe it's just a drone malfunction, but it crashed directly into the track. We finished watching race 1 from the finish line cam here. We have a tie for second place. Puff out front, still anyone's game. If Puff doesn't perform, he's out of it. Scooter Romwell and Disaster Jack will take over. Who will come out of this race victorious? It's all down to this. It's all down to the wire. Scooter Romwell in lane 2. Sam Hall in lane 1. Sam Hall biffs the jump, hits Scooter Romwell, and bounces off the ramp. He is out of it, folks. Scooter Romwell is out of it. It looks like Disaster Jack walks away with it first. My prediction is he does take the win in this one, but Dusty Miles and Cupcake are fast. Rage pulls it off. Wow, Cupcake was extremely fast there, and Dusty Miles takes out a person. I didn't even see that. I was so focused on Cupcake's performance and trying to catch Rage, I completely missed Dusty Miles hopping off the track. I told him if he doesn't keep it straight, he might hurt somebody, and folks, he hurt somebody. Now we actually have to call the office and see if he signed his waiver, because that's dangerous for a track like this. They can be shut down, and I don't want to shut down. I really love Diecast Racing and Rainier Rally. We'll take a look at that from the finish line here. Splat. It looks like the security guard trying to hold back the photographer got the grunt of the blow there. Here comes the ambulance to clean up the mess. Hey, where you going? Come back. Hey, can someone get him back here? And folks, look who it is. It's Schmarby, Schmo, Schmilly, Schmo, Schmy, Schmear, Schmize. Well, folks, I have no clue what that was all about, but I want to tell you that reports are in, that security guard is good, that photographer is good. Oh yeah, we forgot to tell you, Raw Sun God didn't finish that race. He's over there hanging out with the camping crew. But man, that R34 is looking good from the butt end. Cupcake took second. They are tied. Folks, they are tied for second place as we go into the 8th and final lap. Folks, it's going to be between, keep an eye on Dusty Miles and Cupcake. Cupcake is in lane 2, the fast lane. This does not look good for Dusty Miles. Cupcake is in the fast lane. Will he stay out in front, or will Dusty Miles take it? It's going to come down to this race right here as they go into the 360, as they converge in the finish line. They bump, and Dusty Miles takes it by a half of a car after pushing Cupcake off of the wall. We'll slow that down for you here. I want to see that replay. Keep an eye on those 2 black cars. That is where the action happens. It looks like Dusty Miles is out front, but as they enter that 360, lane 2 has the advantage, but lane 2 has to go up that bridge. As they come back together, they're side by side. It looks like Dusty Miles even might be a little bit behind Cupcake, but has more speed going into that final straightaway. There, bumps Cupcake into the wall and takes race 8. There we freeze frame it. Dusty Miles out front just a little bit, pinches, does the little pinch maneuver, pinches one off, and wins race 8. And folks, that means Dusty Miles will move on with Rage to the next round by 1 point. It's going to be slightly slower than the other 3 cars. Watch who takes second. This is going to be the deciding factor on who comes out on top. Who do we see? We see Bam Bam out front, Cousin Ricky, followed by a close race between Daddy G and Bam Bam from this angle, from the butt angle, from the backside, from the rear end. I could not tell who crossed the finish line first between that blue and white car and that blue and silver car. I also closed my eyes because I was scared. Just kidding. I was watching the whole time, but we will freeze frame that as they close to the finish line here. Cousin Ricky takes 4 points as he goes backwards. From this angle, I don't know who took second or third. Sneaky Bob clearly took 4th. Not so Sneaky Bob. We see you. We see it from the finish line cam. Cousin Ricky, freeze frame it. Bam Bam takes that point away from Daddy G. They will send it down the track for race 2. Keep an eye on Lucas in lane 2. This is his chance to shine. Will he take the 4 points? It looks like Arlo is fast as they converge in the final. Arlo out front and looks like an absolute lightning bolt down that final stretch, folks. As they're out of there, we see Disaster Jack now in lane 2 as they shift over 1 lane to their right. Disaster Jack into 360. It looks like he will capitalize on his track positioning. And then there's a battle for second, folks. And from this angle, I do not know who won it. We're going to have to slow it down. First, we'll slow down the chase cam from the rear end and see who won. As they head into the 360, it looks like Disaster Jack is out front, which clearly we know he won. But keep an eye on second and third place right here. Puff takes a huge jump, stumbles to the side. Lucas straightens it out and takes a mad dash for the finish line. And from the finish line cam, it looks like Lucas, by a front fender, takes position 2 and win and move on. But we have Puff in the fast lane. Folks, that's not good for Disaster Jack and Lucas. Puff is only 2 points behind Lucas, and all he needs to do is place 2 spots in front or 3 spots in front of Lucas, and he will be moving on. Disaster Jack up in the curb, potentially slowing down Lucas. I'm not sure if Lucas let off the gas there, but folks, I do see that green car coming in last place. It looks like Arlo was able to take the lead, but who was in second? Let's slow it down for you. Keep an eye on Disaster Jack here on the right-hand side of your screen. He pops up on the curb. It looks like Lucas might have taken his foot off of the accelerator into the 360, which is not what you want to do. You lose all your momentum, and it shows. It looks like Arlo out front by a little bit as he's flying by Puff, beating him in the fast lane, beating Puff, who was in the fast lane. But Puff does secure second for 3 points, and what that means for the score, if you don't know how to add up points, 16 points that Puff was behind Lucas's 18. Now they are tied, folks. So we have Arlo advancing and a tie for second place. Unfortunately, Disaster Jack is out of it. And we are talking to the judges, and we have decided that we could be doing this all day. We're going to settle this with a time trial. Each driver will get 1 run in lane 1. One final run. And ladies and gentlemen, the fastest time out of the two wins it all and moves on to our finals with Arlo. Lucas out of there. You see the time on your right-hand side as they're in the helicopter cam so we can see the start and the finish. He crosses the line at an astounding 9.30 seconds. That, folks, is going to be hard to top. But we did see Lucas kind of slide sideways at the finish line there. Will that impact his time? Will Puff prevail? We shall find out right now. Puff out of there. The time is running. He's up over the first jump. He's under the overpass into 360 as he heads to the finish line jump. He jumps across the line and stops the clock at a 9.28, beating Lucas by the littlest margin. And watch this. This is something special for you. We're going to overlay those two drivers. Keep in mind, this is a little mind-boggling right now because the camera is in different places at different times. But as we freeze frame this finish line, we will line up the finish line and you can see right here how close this race was. Puff winning by about 3/4 of a car length and moving on. That slide that Lucas did across the finish line, I'm not sure why he pulled that, but that cost him the race and that cost him moving on to the finals. It's gonna be a wild one, as most are at this Rainier Rallycross track. Place your bets on the two drivers you think are going to go through. Race 1, they're out of there as they're flying down the track. It looks like the Corvette and the GT40 are out front, but Dusty Miles comes out of nowhere. Dusty Miles is swirling. Whoa! Dusty Miles takes out the camera guy and Megan, the reporter. I didn't even get a chance to see the finish. We'll slow it down for you here. That, folks, is something you never want to see happen on a racetrack or in life. You never want to see someone get struck by a car. There you see Dusty Miles already out of control. He's up on two wheels as he comes over that overpass. Gets struck by Cousin Ricky. Flies, almost hits that cameraman. We freeze frame it there as that guy lost his toupee as Dusty Miles over top of them. And then strikes Megan, the reporter, and the cameraman that apparently has no name, undisclosed. But I failed to mention, look at this battle between Rage and Daddy G at the bottom of your screen. They were side by side over that jump, and there was so much happening, I didn't even get to see that. And there you see the freeze frame of Dusty Miles. He does cross the plane over the track, and he will take first place. Don't pay too much attention to that freeze frame because you do see someone getting splatted by a car. These people are made out of hard metal, and I hope there's no blood and guts anywhere. That's a beautiful GTX. I would hate to ruin the paint job. There you see a shot of Megan laying in the grass near the finish line. It appears she's still reporting, and this gentleman here that clearly hit his head on the tower post is still filming, and that is most likely because our employees at this track do not get workers' compensation, and he needs to stay at work to get a paycheck to feed his family. So he is still recording, and holy cannoli, there goes the National Parks ambulance, and it looks like there's someone riding on top. Is that Schmarvy from the Schmolchmy Schmierschmeis? It looks like Schmarvy. We will report back on them later, but it does appear they're going to be okay. I'm not sure how. That was a nasty, nasty crash. Race 2, you see Dusty Miles coming down over that jump. And folks, we have a 3-car race for second place. Wow, what a finish. That is the craziest thing we have possibly seen in Rainier Rallycross history, other than Cousin Ricky driving, well, Cousin Ricky's car driving down the track without Cousin Ricky in the car and smashing into the audience. That was probably the craziest thing, but this might be a close second. 3 cars wide, something you rarely see in diecast racing. And yes, folks, that is a little bit of foreshadowing for what you might see coming in our next track. You might see 3 cars wide. You might see 4 cars wide. We'll slow that down for you. It looks like Dusty Miles and Rage have a slight lead. As hey, the guy with the popcorn is missing his girlfriend. What happened? Did they already break up? I'm gonna check Twitter and see if there's any gossip about the situation. Please hold. Wait, Twitter is no longer Twitter? What? What's X? Mom! Have you checked Twitter lately? What's Elon doing? Did he rename the company? X? What's X? Well, Apparently, Twitter's no longer Twitter. It's a big X, and my mom says Elon is a wild one. Okay, race 4. They're out of there. It looks like Daddy G is out front, but Cousin Ricky's in lane 2. Will Cousin Ricky come out front? Cousin Ricky takes it, and there's a race for the finish between Dusty Miles, and Dusty Miles flies off the track again. Everything I said about Dusty Miles stands true. I love that car. It's built like a rock. He still crosses the finish line, but after the finish line, you just don't know what is going to happen. Cousin Ricky takes the win, and then there's a race for the finish between Dusty Miles, Daddy G, and Rage. We'll watch that GTX bounce off of the tree, land back on the track, and then roll back over onto the grandstands. We'll slow it down for you very, very slow. This is where it goes wrong. He hits that rock there on his left-hand side, catapults his car up into this tree, gets slingshotted by that Douglas fir, flies back onto the track, hits this gentleman in the head, smacks that other guy in the head. They're not even fazed by it, rolls back over, and no one's even looking at him. The security guards are watching the race that's already over, and nobody is paying attention to Dusty Miles. They're just cheering for, I'm not really sure what, maybe they're still rooting for Megan to come out of her coma. At the line for race number 1, folks, this is going to be a close one. Every point matters in this race. Every position matters. Don't mess it up. And speaking of messing it up, Daddy G and Cousin Ricky get into it, and there's a close race to the finish line. Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack in race 1 here at the finals of the Fast and the Furious tournament. We'll slow that down for you. Go for the chase cam replay. First of all, keep an eye on Cousin Ricky and Daddy G. They both get off track, bump into each other, and then Cousin Ricky decides to put a block move on Daddy G, slowing both of them down and allowing Puff and Arlo to get out in front. Now you see Puff out in front, but he's got to go up that lane bridge. He is favored to win this race, and Arlo just has too much speed and pulls up side by side with him, and I do not know who won. We will take a look from the finish line cam. As you see, it looks like Puff is out front, but Arlo makes a huge jump, and as they come close to the finish line, they're dead even. I don't know why we're freeze framing so much, but there you see it, the freeze frame at the finish line. That's the one that matters. Arlo wins it by about a half of a Suki. Half of a width of a Suki. Daddy G moves into lane 2, and let me tell you, Daddy G needs to win in lane 2 if he wants any chance at the victory. Looks like Arlo has an early lead out front. Arlo over jumps and crashes and lands on his lid, allowing Daddy G to get out front and take the win in race 3, followed by Cousin Ricky and Puff. And unfortunately, Arlo was stuck upside down at the line for race number 4, the last race in the first half of this finals. They're out of there. It looks like Cousin Ricky has an early start. He is in lane 2. He is favored to win this. Will Cousin Ricky come out on top? Daddy G is close by. Daddy G almost gets ahead of Cousin Ricky, but Cousin Ricky cuts over to the left at the last second, closing the door on Daddy G and taking the victory in race number 4. Let's slow it down for you and watch a little closer, a little better. Let's watch all the things go slower, around in circles, down towards the finish line. I thought Daddy G might have had it right here. He had the speed, but Cousin Ricky cut over to the left as the lanes converged, and Daddy G didn't have enough to win this time. Why am I singing right now, and why isn't this frame cutting to the next frame? Okay, I don't know why that was left in there, but a little bit of dead air there. We'll slow it down for you and look at the finish again. Daddy G barely losing to Cousin Ricky. I hope after that dead air, I mean, that was like 6 seconds. In this era with content at your fingertips, that is enough to get people to unsubscribe. Please don't unsubscribe to this channel. I need to put my kids through college. I need the subscribers. I need the views. Please, please, please. We love you all, and I appreciate you watching our videos. All right, second half. Race number 5. They shift lanes. Puff out front, but no, Arlo comes out of nowhere, and Puff gets tangled up with Cousin Ricky, and what a finish for race 5, folks. This finals is crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. I thought Puff had this. Watch Puff as they go into 360. He is now 1 car ahead of Arlo, 2 cars ahead of Arlo, 3 cars ahead of Arlo. And Cousin Ricky comes out of nowhere, gets tangled up with Puff, and allows Arlo to zoom by on the left-hand side and take the victory. Look at them as they jump over that finish line jump. 3 cars wide. Arlo sneaks in there for the win, folks. That is a pass for the books. That's going to make it to our highlight reel, which is going to be coming on another video after this. best finishes, best action of Rainier Rallycross. Well, all right, race. Okay, folks, scores are still tight. It's still anyone's game. Anything can happen. Arlo is in lane 3 again. This is the lane he DNF'd. Will he DNF again? It looks like he hits the landing clean. He's out in front, but Daddy G is going to contest. And Daddy G does not have enough to pass Arlo. Arlo takes the win. And folks, I believe Daddy G really needed that point. If he was able to beat Arlo in this race, it may have made the difference between winning and losing this tournament. This race was one of the deciding factors, and take a look at how close those two cars were as they get together and get some contact as they go towards the finish line, and Daddy G bounces off that rock. And there you see Arlo sliding sideways as he wins by about a car length over Team G4 Diecast Racing. And that G4 Diecast Racing has put so much into that Ford GT, but will they have enough to take the victory? It's a battle between Arlo and Daddy G. Thank you again for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, like again, share with your friends, share with your uncles, share with your unborn kids. We need everyone to see these videos. And of course, you know what comes next. Until next time, stay tuned, stay passionate, and get ready for more exciting moments on the track.